Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Tales from the Jails. Yeah, I realise this is the second one I've done today, but I did this because there's a news report out about prison staff having sexual relations with inmates awaiting sentence, actually. One of the officers involved in this was a prison nursing officer, my old position, but I tended to stay upright. Yeah, this was prison nurse called Elise Hibbs, age 25, and she's of Manchester, and she'd served previously at HMP Manchester, or Strangeways, and also at HMP Park in Bridgend, which is in Wales. Yeah, and she was having been pleaded guilty to having inappropriate relationships with a male inmate. I take it that is polite language for having a sexual relationship with him, you know. The other one is another lady called Ruth Shimlow, age 25. She is she's from Wales, actually, from the Cardiff area, and she is not pleaded yet, but she is being charged with the same offence of having inappropriate relationships. So it's misconduct in a public office. Yeah, and she is awaiting making her plea. The judge, the recorder at Cardiff Crown Court, has put Elise Hibbs on bail, granted her bail pending a report, and said that all options remain on the king. But the strange thing is, it's the same inmate. Whoever this guy is, he'd obviously dropped lucky, because they're not going to charge him with it, are they? That's the problem, you see. I've mentioned this before. You get alpha males in prison, they're either going to go gay for the stay or find a way to actually get themselves tucked in to the female staff that they've now got on there, parading up and down. From what Neil Samworth tells me, there's 18-year-old girls going in there on the landings, dressed in lipstick and makeup, and basically asking for it, you know. I mean, I know it's not appropriate to say things like that, but it's not the place for young women in a thing like that. I mean, I know when I was there, the most attractive thing on the landings was what was his name? Peter Cook, the Cambridge rapist. Have you ever seen him? What an ugly bastard he is. Eh? He was about 5'3", but exceedingly bulky. Yeah, like a Mick McManus type. Yeah, tried to grab me and give me a kiss. God knows what else he wanted, but he had an enormous weapon poking out from underneath the skirt that he'd made for himself. You can read about that in my forthcoming book. It's called HMP Manchester Officer. It's going to be published, I believe, by Sean Atwood. We'll see anyway. So that's up to the date news. That right today. That's the report out there. Same inmate, sexual misconduct in HMP Manchester, HMP Park at Bridgend, and the prison nurse was Elise Hibbs, aged 25, and the prison detention officer, they call them now, or custody officer, Ruth Shimlow, aged 25, both going to get themselves some bird. Yeah, what will they do there? Anyway, it's that I'm going to do it now, although it's not a song, it's a poem, but you've been warned, you get the idea. This is a rather, well, I think it's an amusing poem. You may think otherwise. It's called The Fairy at the Bottom of Our Street by John G. Sutton, of course. Down the bottom of our street, where the dogs and cats run free, I was walking and whistling when a fairy said to me, "You look lovely, you look handsome. Would you like to make a wish?" I thought just for a moment of the things to bring me bliss. Maybe holidays, lots of money, new clothes for my wife Mary. "I would definitely want to," said I to the fairy. He was a proper little fellow, green tunic, bright red cap, leather belt, tight trousers. Then he gave his hands a clap. "You must tell me what your wish is." He spoke those words so sweet, and the silver buckles sparkled on the boots upon his feet. "Why, I would wish for money, lots of ale, and so much more." The fairy stood and listened, softly staring at the floor. "Yes, your wish, sir, shall be granted," the fairy said with glee. And I said a little prayer to heaven, so glad to be just me. "But there is one condition, something you must do," he said. I pondered and I wondered as the fairy shook his head. Then he cuddled up much closer, and I dreamed of this and that. "You look lovely, you look handsome, now give me a kiss." So I stared at the fairy, thought about the money and wish. "Oh, go on then," I answered as he puckered up his lip. "Now, no one is perfect. We all can make a slip." As I fastened up my trousers and walked back up the street, I turned and heard laughter that made me stop my feet. "How old are you, fine fellow?" the fairy gave a shout. "A little over 40, I said, "or thereabout." I could see that he was smiling. He wore a silly grin. Then I knew that I'd been suckered. Yes, I'd been taken in. "You're too old to believe in fairies," I heard him call and laugh. So I turned feeling foolish and went home to take a bath. Now, people, there's a moral, a lesson for you all. If you chance to meet a fairy, if the leprechauns do call, if you're tempted by the goblins and you dare to make a wish, beware the little fairy who tries to take a kiss. Years have passed since I met him, where the cats and dogs run free, but I never will forget what that fairy did to me. My wish, well, I'm still waiting. Money is quite sparse, and despite all my wishing, all I got was a sore arse. I told you it wasn't politically correct. Hope that didn't offend too many people. At least I shan't be appearing in Cardiff Crown Court, unlike prison nurse Alicia Hibbs, who made a new friend but lost her liberty. Isn't that sad? Tales from the jails, like and all the rest of it, and subscribe. I will see you all soon. Thank you very much.